Oh, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's episode of the Legal Paige podcast. Today's episode, you guys, is something super special. I am talking all about my online mastermind that I host and provide business coaching to other entrepreneurs. And today I have 3 ladies who participated in round 1 of my online mastermind at the beginning of 2019. And they are here to help me tell you all what my mastermind was all about and how it worked and benefited them and their businesses and where they're at now. So let's just get on into it, why don't we? You're listening to the Legal Paige podcast, where we chat about life and business with a legal twist. I'm Paige, attorney and photographer helping online businesses and creatives tackle their business dreams without breaking out in hives. No more legal mumbo jumbo. This podcast features simple, bite-sized advice that'll have you legally legit in no time. Are you ready? Let's get started. Need an easy way to move your business forward today? I've got you, friend. I have an in-depth plan and the steps to get you moving right now. In just 1 week, I will be hosting a brand new free webinar about how to master confidence and create freedom in your business without second-guessing yourself or doing all the things. All you have to do is visit thelegalpage.com/savemyseat and register today. See you then. Okay, thanks for tuning in today. Obviously, today's topic is all about masterminds, and particularly my online mastermind, the Legal Paige mastermind that I host. My mastermind is a little bit different than other masterminds out there. And I'm sure you've heard this word mastermind used around the industry for some time. And you're like, what is a mastermind, Paige? Like, what is this even all about? So mastermind started when there were like really influential people in this online world, like people with hundreds of thousands of followers. They wanted to do business coaching, but they wanted to do it in a group environment. And they also wanted to like have there be colleagues that work together. So they're not just the only ones teaching, the only ones that people reach out to. So that's kind of where a mastermind came about. And a mastermind is really like some mind or person leading a group. So they are the mastermind. So they're the ones that are educating people and helping people. But then the group members as a whole, so if there's 10 people in the mastermind or 20 people in the mastermind, then those 10 or 20 people also help one another. So you lean on each other in a mastermind, oftentimes more than you actually lean on the educator himself or herself. Now, there's 2 various types of masterminds. There are in-person masterminds, which a lot of you know about. Those are the ones that cost lots of money, usually over $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes upwards of $20,000. I know people that are like, Tony Robbins and Rebecca Hollis and Brennan Burchard and Lewis Howes. Like they have huge masterminds that cost upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 to get in. And those are like other large, influential business owners in the online world that participate in those larger masterminds because let's be real, like how many of us have $100,000 to drop on a mastermind? But then there's people like the one I was in last year, Jenna Kutcher's mastermind. And I'm just very blunt and obvious. That one cost around $20,000. And then like my friend Julie Paisley is also hosting a mastermind this year. And hers is I think somewhere around like $15,000. So really, it kind of varies across the board for what a mastermind costs. Now, these in-person masterminds often cost way, way more than an online mastermind would cost. And the reason being is because these huge influential business owners are taking time out of their schedule not only to plan, but then to be there and be present with you and give you their person and their mind for a couple days or for a week or whatever it is. And so that's why it costs so much. So you get pretty much like one-on-one personal coaching, but usually you have to go to them. So these in-person masterminds range anywhere from like 2 to 4 in-person retreats, and they're throughout the entire United States. And you obviously have to not only pay for the mastermind, but you also have to like pay for all of your travel costs associated with getting to and from these in-person retreats. So the in-person masterminds, a lot of you know what it's about. You will get like education during these retreats. That's when they teach and tell you all of the things you need to know. Q&As galore, hot seats all the time. You're just constantly learning, and it's like a rush of like a ton of business coaching in a short period of time when you are in person with this mastermind host. And then there's the period of time. So say you have 4 retreats, so one every quarter of the year. Then every 3 months in between is more of the time that you lean on your mastermind colleagues that are in there, whether it's your mastermind sisters, your mastermind boys, just if it's girls and boys, like all of the mastermind people, you would reach out to them and you guys work together to do like whatever your homework is or whatever you're trying to implement into your business. Of course, the mastermind is there to like answer general questions, but usually they're not as active during those in-between times because really their time is there to just do the in-person retreats. So that is an in-person mastermind. Now, online masterminds are newer in this online world. And I kind of took this concept of an in-person mastermind and I reached out to a lot of my followers, and I realized that my audience is primarily women, obviously, but also women that are either doing a full-time job and then side hustling, or they are mompreneurs who are working really, really hard at home and they just don't have a lot of time and feasibility to be able to like pick up and travel for an in-person mastermind. Or a lot of my followers are just starting out, so they might even need help getting started with this side hustle to be able to leave their full-time jobs. So when I kind of took that poll and figured out where my audience was at, I realized that I could craft a mastermind type of experience that, one, didn't cost as much as an in-person mastermind, 2, ensured that they wouldn't have to fork out a ton of extra money for travel because there would be no travel because it would be entirely virtual. And then 3 was it catered to their schedules. So I remember being in a mastermind and I worked, when I was in Jenna's mastermind, I still worked for a federal judge. And so I had to take PTO to like be able to leave and then go educate myself some more and do all this business coaching and masterminding. And it was exhausting. And I didn't want to like deter people from being a part of a mastermind because they couldn't travel and because they have 9-to-5s. And so I created a mastermind where our group calls were on weekday evenings, so it was easy for people who were still doing a full-time job to be able to attend, or for mompreneurs who are at home to be able to like get a babysitter or have their significant others come home to watch kids, what have you. So I decided to do an online mastermind. It's called the Legal Paige Online Mastermind, and I just had this idea rolling in my head for a really long time. I love coaching other entrepreneurs and leading them to successful, profitable, and fulfilling businesses. But what I didn't actually anticipate was that the online mastermind would be so successful. And I just was like trying to get a good group of women together that I could help and kind of be their guiding force, but also a group of women that could really lean on each other so much and help each other. And they were all at various places in their business trajectories. So it was so beautiful to have this group of women. And this was my first round ever. So I launched it at the beginning of 2019, and I did a shortened version of a mastermind. So it's not 12 months, it was 3 months. It was a 90-day boot camp, if you want to call it that. And it worked really well because, one, people oftentimes want like some type of group coaching experience, but they just can't really commit to more than say 90 days because they just don't really know what the next 6 to 12 months is looking like. So that's what my online mastermind ended up becoming. If you want to put it into a package, that's what I was packaging to everyone. And I could honestly talk about my first mastermind experience and how proud I am of the ladies that were a part of it all day long. But to be very frank with you, it's not the same as actually hearing from a few of these ladies in person. And so over the past week, I reached out and asked a few of them to record a little blurb about their online mastermind experience with me and with the other group of gals that were in it. And I wish I could have you listen to all 17 of the ladies that were in the online mastermind, but I try to keep these podcast episodes short and sweet. So I only have a few of them, but these 3 people are gems and I just love them so, so, so much. So let's dive right in. The first person you will be hearing from is Rebecca. So Becca Reed, or Becca, as many of us call her, and it's spelled Bekah, and I just love her to pieces. She is the owner and founder of Rebecca Reed Creative. Now, Becca is an entrepreneur, go-getter, chocolate lover, marathoner. Like you guys, she is a beast at running. She's a puppy mom. Her dog looks like my sugar doodle, and she's also an ice cream addict, and she's constantly eating ice cream on her social media accounts. It makes me hungry every time she posts it, but I just love her. She really, really has balance in her running abilities and ice cream eating abilities. She loves meeting people and helping her clients achieve brand awareness and more traffic through their social media and websites. She really also enjoys her clients who allow her into their small businesses and for giving her the opportunity to serve them in creating content that they love. Now, Becca came in to the online mastermind as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and then she turned into a website designer through the mastermind. I remember when she first applied, when I went to her website to figure out what she did it all. And it was like, she did all the things and I couldn't really figure out what she was an expert in. And I couldn't really figure out actually what she loved. She was a photographer and a social media expert and an SEO expert and a website designer and a graphic designer and like all these things, which is super awesome because I'm multi-passionate too. So I immediately connected with her, but then I realized, oh my gosh, girl, I can totally help you because I think we need to refine what you're offering to your audience so they really see you as an expert in X. And I want you all to hear from Becca today about where she started and then how the strategy and implementation of the mastermind and how our bi-weekly education and group calls really played a role for her. So here are her biggest takeaways.
When I started the mastermind, I was at a complete lull in my business. I was losing a lot of passion. I just had no direction, and I definitely wasn't making enough to support a family when we decided to have kids. Paige taught me so many things, including, and most importantly, I would say, how to implement strategy into every aspect of my business. So we started off and I figured out my ideal client. Then we niched it down into what exactly I wanted to do, which was like the major thing I wanted to get out of the mastermind. I was just, multi-passionate entrepreneur right here, just doing all the things. And Paige just gave me that kick in the booty to be like, all right, we need to figure out what you love and what you're good at and what can make you money. And then from there, we also doubled my prices for a website design. So she really helped me in so many different ways. From the very beginning of the mastermind, we talked about strategy and implementation, like I said, and I learned the importance of strategizing instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. Paige helped me strategize what my ideal client would most likely want, and then set up a plan to get more clients and start a stream of passive income. I started out struggling with getting clients, and now I'm booked out a month in advance. I also created opt-ins during the mastermind to try to grow my email list. I started the email list. I have now started a YouTube channel. I created a shop with the end goal of that having another stream of income for when I decide to have babies. And like I said, I now have a ton more clients. My biggest takeaway was the importance of finding your niche and then going after that with your strategy. Also, that I am good enough. I started out just undervaluing myself royally, and Paige simply stated with confidence my worth. And that has not only allowed me to be more confident in my pricing, but also that I can make a career out of this. This was a complete game changer for my business, and I couldn't suggest this mastermind enough to anyone who needs help with direction for their business, or a kick in the booty to chase their dreams, or if they're just looking to up-level their business. It's a complete game changer, and I know so many women got so much out of it, and I'm very thankful for it.
Oh my gosh. I literally just want to hug Becca through this podcast episode. I adore her to the moon and back. I felt for her because I remember her telling me at the beginning of the mastermind, like, Paige, I feel like I need to go get another job. Like I'm losing passion for my business. And she talked about that today. And I just wanted her to figure out what that passion was and then how she could use that to get more clients on board and to have a little bit more monetary income coming in so that she could really, really figure out exactly how she was going to make this business a part of her life and a part of her family's life. And she did that. And so to have the ability for this mastermind to turn her passions around and to have it all come to fruition with her not getting another job and still doing her entrepreneurship full time was amazing to see. So I'm so glad Becca chimed in today. Now, next, we have Kristen. So Kristen Gillen is the owner and founder of Kristen Ann Photography. She's been married to her husband for almost 14 years, and they have two really awesome kids, Addie, who's 9, and Will, who's 7. And you see them all over. Her family is a huge part of her life. You see them all over her social media accounts. She has spent over a decade working in the corporate world and learned a ton doing that, but she always yearned for something more. And after the loss of her father, she realized that life was simply too short to not love what she was doing every single day. So she started her photography business and has been doing so for the past 3 years and was able to leave the corporate world and go full-time last year. So Kristen came into the mastermind with someone with a lot of ideas and someone who was still feeling that pull towards leaving the corporate world and all the benefits and all the income and all the consistency that came with that, and having a hard time like jumping into entrepreneurship really full force, like jumping into the deep end and giving it her all. And it was so awesome. And I loved her journey. It was a little bit more of an emotional journey, but also a very strategic implementation journey for her. And she was able to record her time in the mastermind. And I would love for you to hear how her journey went. So here it is.
Hi, this is Kristen Gillen with Kristen Ann Photography, and I was part of Paige's first ever mastermind. When I started the mastermind, I had no direction in my business. I couldn't make traction on any of the ideas I had because I didn't know where to start or how to implement any of the ideas that I did have. I was totally unorganized and had no systems in place. Along the way, I learned that it's okay to have tons of ideas of things that I want to do. That's what makes me an entrepreneur. But if I can't get those ideas organized to implement, then I'll never be able to make traction in my business. The mastermind taught me how to go through and prioritize the ideas that I have that I think will make the most impact and move the needle in my business the most. Once I have that pared down list, then I can use the steps that I learned from Paige to move forward and successfully implement. Thanks to the mastermind, I now have a clear trajectory that I want my business to go down. I know specifically who it is that I'm talking to and what it is I'm building and the things I need to do to get there. I am able to implement my ideas a lot faster than I ever could before. My biggest takeaways from the mastermind were how to organize and then actually implement my implementation list. And also to focus on the tasks and projects that will actually move the needle in my business based on where I'm at with my business. The mastermind was beneficial to my business because it put me on a path I needed to be to successfully grow my business. I adore Paige and everything she has done for me and my business. She's so knowledgeable and caring. She's no nonsense, which pushes me to be better and motivates me to get things done. Okay, I hope that works. Thanks, you guys.
Okay, now Kristen obviously is one of those entrepreneurs, and there's many of you out there that have what I like to call the paradox of choice. So she had all of these ideas in her head, and she couldn't really narrow those down. And what happens is if you have way too many ideas as an entrepreneur, which we all do because we're creatives and we can't help ourselves and we can't turn our brains off. But if you just like have all these ideas rattling around, you're never actually going to narrow that down into like one or two things that you can implement now. And so I really, truly believe that the implementation strategy that I was able to help Kristen with and the other ladies were able to really like be her sisters and encouragers through this implementation process that we go through in the 90-day online mastermind really helped her figure out that she could niche down and she could make more money doing so. So I have loved having Kristen as a part of this group. She holds a very special place in my heart. We still DM like all the time on Instagram, I swear, like every other day. So Kristen, thank you so much for your time. Now, finally, we have Adrena, and Adrena is the owner and accountant behind Accounting by Adrena, and she is here to tell you about her online mastermind experience. She has a master's in business administration and accounting from the University of La Verne, and before jumping full-time into her accounting and bookkeeping business, she worked in leadership positions within various accounting departments for large media organizations based in Los Angeles, California. And her goal as an accountant and a bookkeeper is always to be a key business partner to her clients and also help them reach their financial goals by developing budgets to plan and forecast their business financials. Right now, she lives in Pasadena, California, which is super sunny, and I love her posts when she shows us her Instagram stories outside every day because it's super sunny and I'm super jealous. But she really enjoys spending time with loved ones and watching movies in her spare time. So a little bit more about Adrena's position when she was coming into the mastermind. So she was actually still working full-time as an accountant and bookkeeper for a corporation, and she wanted to figure out like how she could take her passions behind accounting and bookkeeping and turn them into some type of full-time job. And she kind of already had been doing so for about the past year and all the necessary steps she needed to take to go full-time, but she wasn't really able to like fully make that leap into entrepreneurship without the help of her mastermind sisters and myself, just really ensuring that she was setting herself up for success and not for failure. I mean, she's a very methodical, black and white person as it is because she is an accountant, but she was so helpful to many, many other mastermind sisters. One of the best things, like I talked about masterminds, is that you not only want to be a part of a mastermind group where the mastermind or the leader of the pack is like helping you and educating you and always there for you and like readily, on tap if you have questions. That's definitely something you want to ensure is in your mastermind experience. But another thing is you want to make sure that this mastermind is comprised of really phenomenal people that are also going to be extremely supportive of your business and not just theirs. It's really a give and take with masterminds. And I felt that Adrena was one of the people who definitely gave more than she took. And she just helped everyone with financial questions, with like transitioning from the corporate world to the entrepreneur world questions. She's just a rock star. And she is answering the 3 questions that I asked of her today as follows.
Hi, my name is Adrena, and I am the owner and accountant of Accounting by Adrena. You can find me on Instagram at Account by Adrena. The first question, where were you when you started this mastermind? When I first started the mastermind group, I felt like I needed help being catapulted into the right direction in order for my online business to gain momentum. But at that same time, I had so many thoughts on how and where it should go with no real solid path. I felt all over the place, and to be frank, I still do at times. But the mastermind allowed me to hone in my focus week after week on the homework assignments, especially since the assignments are directly related to my business and the how, where, why I wanted my business to grow. The second question, what did the mastermind teach you about implementing strategies? Having a timeline to implement strategies is key. Even if it is one small goal a week towards a larger goal in 3 months, this strategy Paige provides us for implementation is super helpful because it allows you to stay motivated while also not feeling the overwhelm of all of the things. I think before I had an implementation strategy, I felt like I was all over the place and I couldn't nail myself down to committing to which thing I wanted to implement first and why. Now I have a clear path on what I will be implementing over the course of the next 6 months. Third question, what did you learn along the way that was most impactful? There's nothing better than getting together with a group of like-minded ladies to talk business and keep each other accountable. It is both encouraging and motivating to keep moving forward. In fact, meeting all of these lovely like-minded ladies has allowed me to create and build a team of ladies that will actually help me get to where I need to go with my online business, because this girl will not be meeting her big, scary goals alone. And have I mentioned how helpful it was having Paige guide and lead us along the way? Being an online business owner herself, she's been through it all. And not only was she able to provide all of the clear legal advice that we needed, but she was also able to provide practical advice for implementing and growing our online businesses.
Oh, Adrina, I just adore you. Thanks so much, girlfriend, for recording that. I loved having you as a part of our group in round 1. I just really love all these ladies so much. And like I said, I wish I could have everyone on, but Becca, Kristen, and Adrina, I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time and joining me on the Legal Paige podcast. I'm sure all of our listeners felt that it was incredibly beneficial to hear actually from women who were in a mastermind and their take on things. So you guys, Becca, Kristen, and Adrina's contact information is all linked in my show notes at thelegalpage.com/episode 15. And of course, it will be linked in all of our Instagram posts for the episode as well. However, I wanted to also let you know that all of my ladies, while I couldn't have them on, all of my ladies in round 1 secretly created a thank you video for me about their time in the mastermind. And it's so funny. I could tell you the whole story, but a little blurb here is my friend Juliana. She's a videographer. She reached out to them and asked them if they wanted to do this. And then she kind of organized it. They all sent in videos. And then Juliana sat me down in an Uber when we were driving somewhere together. And she popped out her phone and put in some headphones and had me watch this incredible thank you video. And I just started crying and laughing and joking and pointing at the screen. And these girls are just amazing. I love these women so much. So there's tons of dancing. And Becca, if you want to see who this lady is, she literally does the worm. And then there's a baby doing the floss, and all of these gals talk about how helpful the mastermind was for them in their own words. So please also go check that out. We'll link it in the show notes. It's a super cute, quick video that you will enjoy. And then finally, you all, I want to invite you to submit your application for round 2 of the Legal Paige Mastermind. Now, I'm making sure, as always, that I craft another group of amazing females to join my 90-day online mastermind this time around that are perfectly fit to work together. Of course, I will be there to lead the way, but it's super important for me after being a part of round 1 that I craft a group that gels really well together, because it's super important to have a very successful mastermind experience, to have a good group of women. So make sure you apply now to get on the wait list and be the first to know when I open the doors to the group. That will also be linked in my show notes. And I'll make sure that I post about that so you guys can get the link to be the first to know when we open the doors, we expect them to go really fast this time around. So round 2 is opening up here shortly, like within a week, hint, hint, 6/11. So you better get in soon. All right. So much fun on today's episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a good one. Do you want to work less while making more? Are you concerned about how your business can actually stand out in the crowded creative market? Don't worry, friend. I am hosting a webinar all about how to master confidence and create freedom in your business without second-guessing yourself or burning out. It's available next week for only a few days, so you don't want to miss it. All you have to do is visit thelegalpage.com/savemyseat and register today. The webinars will be on Tuesday and Wednesday, so you can choose your favorite time. Again, that's thelegalpage.com/savemyseat. See you then. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Legal Page Podcast. See, I told you being legally legit isn't so scary. Be sure to visit thelegalpage.com for all show notes. And it would be super awesome if you could head over to iTunes and leave a review. Last but not least, don't forget to join my free Facebook group for unlimited legal and biz Q&A. Chat soon, Legal Pagers.